Welcome once again, TitleFight.com. Welcoming in the phone booth, Shaun Brazil, otherwise known as Shaun B, coming to talk a little bit of boxing with us, of course some music, and we're going to talk how these two mesh together. Mr. Brazil.
What up, man?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm always great. How are you?
Hey, same here, bro. Always at it. Always doing something. So life's good. Life's treating me good. Well, I'm gonna jump right into this, man. I know you're at practice and stuff, so I'm not gonna keep you too much or longer than needed. So we'll get this thing rolling. You ready?
Yeah, it's all gravy.
All right, brother. You know, it's been a minute since we got in touch with you, and we've been able to keep tabs on what you're doing, but we're keeping our eye on you still. We noticed that you've been traveling around a little bit, and now we've come over to California to see you keeping on the grind over there as well. Talk to us a little bit about what's been happening with Shaun B lately.
I've been staying real busy, you know what I mean? I just came out here with a mission to further my music and kind of get it heard to a little bit larger of an audience. And so far, it's been going pretty well. I have a couple of different residency clubs to where I'm playing at weekly.
Uh-huh.
And then lately we've been doing a little bit bigger venues. I don't know, House of Blues we've done. We have like tons more coming up. A place called The Bid. I don't know, just staying as busy as possible. My goal this year was 31 cities in the state of California because there's like so many cities out here.
Right.
There's like, you know, it's not Idaho. So, you know, my goal was 31 cities, and we're on course right now. We've hit maybe like 10 brand new cities that have never heard of me are now, you know, Shaun B fans. You know?
Right.
So it's cool. It's working out.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, you mentioned a couple things that I want to touch base on. You know, let's take it back a little bit. You mentioned, you know, it's not Idaho, which that's where I first ran into you myself years back. And, you know, since then you've been able to jump ship there. But I want to let listeners a little bit in of who you are, a little bit of your background as well. For as much as I know from your background, at least into your teens, you know, you came from small desert high school out in Mountain Home. How did coming up out of a place like that lead you into the music realm, and how did that all come about? Talk to us a little bit about that.
You know, I'm a preacher's kid. My dad and mom were like preachers, pastors of a church, kind of my whole life growing up. So when I first lived in Mountain Home, you know, we moved there. My dad had a church out there, and I was kind of just like that church boy that was singing in choir. Mm-hmm. I sang in my high school choir, and our high school choir was real good. You know, we kind of won awards. You know, we were a good group. But, you know, music has always been like a passion of mine. My first instrument was drum, and I was like 5 years old, and I was at my dad's church in England. Like, so the history of music with me goes back so much further than what people see now. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, oh, it's brand new. No, I kind of been doing this for a minute. But, so there wasn't really any kind of like R&B or soul music going on coming from that area. I don't know. It's not that many, I don't know. Gotta watch what I say.
No, throw it out there. It's open, man. Say whatever's on your mind. Want to hear it.
You know, it wasn't that many white people in that area. You know, and kind of when I was growing up, it's more now. But so it was like I just had to create kind of what I thought it should sound like, just based off of, you know, influences. You know, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson. A lot of gospel music. I have a strong, heavy gospel influence on my music, but it's only because I grew up as a church boy, singing in church. Kind of converted that so that, you know, it's still a positive message.
Sure.
Yeah, but that's, I don't know. Hope I answered your question.
No, you did.
Sorry.
No, you did. You totally did there. So, you know, kind of brings another couple thoughts to mind here. You know, most recently we've kind of seen you evolve into a different type of artist, you know, different type of personality overall in a sense. So you still keep true to your roots here, but you know, there's been some changes recently in the sense of Shunbian Company now. We've seen you in the past perform with live bands and doing live sets like that and whatnot. How is this different from what you've done in the past, now with what you're doing currently?
Shunbian Company is a real cool group of individuals that I met since I moved to California, and that's kind of how that name it formed. I was just kind of looking for some people to help me break into the music industry out here. Believe it or not, Gordy, like, the music scene is not that huge as maybe people would think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you think, oh, California and New York and Atlanta, you know, and Tennessee. Maybe Tennessee is super huge, but I know as far as California, the hype about it is not as big. So, you know, it's like seeing that it is a small kind of network, it's all about who you know. You know what I mean? So I kind of had to kind of find some people that were kind of already doing it and doing it well, mm-hmm. and kind of just like solicit to them and say, hey, I'm Shaun B. You know, that's my whole scheme. I'm Shaun. I'm a little kid from Idaho. You know what I mean? Just brand new out here. And it kind of worked, you know. So I ended up meeting some really talented people, and it would have been unfair for me to continue on doing shows with this amazing cast behind me and just call it Shaun B. So I had to kind of think of something, you know, to label these individuals that are with me.
Sure.
But they're phenomenal, bro. Like, they all play for celebrities in their own right, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, they feel like, you know, working with me is going to take them to another level and maybe take us together as a group. Shunbian Company consists of maybe like 8 different players. Mm-hmm. I'm the lead vocalist, of course. We do a lot of my original material. And then I have, you know, just a full band: bass, drums, guitars, horns, background singers. You know, all of them are like, you know, eye candy, and they're all talented. So it's just like a great show to present to people.
Nice. So it sounds like you got a pretty solid core there, you know, and even though you're the front man for it all, it sounds like you guys have a pretty good nucleus built in there. That's kind of carrying things forward. That's what's up. You know, part of what I want to touch base on as well is the fact of you, you know, having to travel outside of your home area in order to pursue your passion here. And in comparing this into the fight game, you know, any champion can attest that having to travel for a big fight is not so much a question of if, but, you know, when they're going to have to take a leap. And in fact, you know, in the fight game, a lot of fighters have to establish some sort of bargaining chips in the form of public appeal or influential management until they're able to actually make some moves happen like that. And you had to do the same thing in the sense of having to take the leap and get outside of your home area to do so. Talk to us a little bit about that decision that you made, and, you know, was it a difficult decision for you to pursue, or you just went for it?
It's a kind of a scary move. Really, you know, I grew up in, of course, mountain home in Boise, as we had mentioned before, and that kind of develops a real big comfort zone, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where to go anywhere outside of that, of course, it's most people's dream. They're like, oh, I want to get out of Idaho, but kind of just doing it for real is more than just talk. I kind of had to. I'm not gonna lie, Corey. I had to prove a lot to myself that I could do it, that I was strong enough to do it myself. And then, you know, to these naysayers, that really was just kind of like promoting my failure. Yeah. You know, and it's like, you know, I will leave, I will do well, I will be successful. The next time you see me, I'll be back in Boise performing. Right. So that's kind of the attitude that I left with. Like, I don't come back to Idaho unless I'm doing a show. Mm-hmm. If people hear, like, oh, Shaun's back, it's because I'm working. Right. You know what I mean? I'm doing a show, I'm doing a performance. Like, I really don't have any time to be so small-minded. Mm-hmm. With the mentality that can be kind of where your home is, you know what I mean? Like, I still consider it my home, and I love it to death, but I had to make that decision. And it was scary in the aspect of, like, everything in Idaho was, like, it's way easier, you know, it's way cheaper. Mm-hmm. It's you know, it's a lot of things that is definitely not California, but it's a grind, and it just shows how bad you want it. The proof is in your persistence. So if you really want it and you really want to succeed at it, then you're going to make it happen by any means necessary. My trip, I just decided, like, I turned 30. It was my birthday month. I had a big celebration. We had a big concert. I kind of went out with a bang in Boise. And then the next day, I just packed up all my stuff and I drove, bro. And I drove to California, and I haven't came back since, to live,
Yeah, that is pretty bold. That is pretty bold move. Not too many people would be able to pull the trigger on something like that. That's props to you for that. I mean, yeah, you're going to be under the radar, as you already have noticed there. So, if anything, a champion's built to want to persevere in moments like that, just to prove yourself.
Let's give them something to talk about.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's true. Very, very true. You mentioned when you were back here in this area in Boise that sometimes things seem to be a little bit easier in some way, shape, and form. Professional athletes looking to build their portfolio sometimes have, endorsement deals, for example, on the bucket list. And not only is it to create extra streams of cash flow, but also to help legitimize their value in the public's perception. Now, on some scale, we've seen them do similar over here when you develop certain partnerships with respected establishments who are using you as their poster child, right, for their marketing. And, we've seen that as well now that you're away from here as well. For somebody that's in the game and trying to take some tips and some pointers from somebody that's already been down that path, what would you give as a tip or as some feedback to somebody that's hungry, some artists that are in the game seeking to do similar types of things?
I mean, the best advice is to seek advice. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of artists kind of get caught up in, this is my project, this is all about me, and this is what I want to do, and if it's not done like this, then it's not done right. And, of course, you want to have some ownership with your brand, and you want to make sure that, your brand goes the direction that you have the vision for, but you got to also realize that it's not ever going to happen by yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that was kind of something that I had to realize. It won't happen by yourself, and be nice to people. You know what I mean? Like, you would be surprised. A lot of the, endorsements that I receive is just because I'm a nice person, or I try to be a nice person. You know what I mean? Like, I try to, show love to everybody, People will want to give you stuff based on how you treat them. You know what I mean? If you're like one of those guys that's kind of like, you're a complainer, you're a nagger, whatever, you're one of those females, kind of drama, it's less of a chance that people will want to just give you stuff. I was blessed and fortunate to where I was nice to people, so in return they're like, can you wear my stuff? And no, you don't have to pay. Just tell them that that you're it's from this company or whatever. That's the kind of stuff that you really want.
Right. No, that's some good advice there.
It's all about relationships.
Yep.
Build healthy relationships, and you'll go far.
Very well said. In some other respects as well, here we have seen other professionals take a leap at other opportunities or other industries, and it doesn't always seem to fit. To kind of give you an example of that, we got a cat like Adrian Broner, who's a young and up-and-coming fighter. He's been the recipient of much criticism for his leap into the hip-hop realm as well and his endeavors there, and visibly paying for it in the ring, most recently against Marcos Maidana. Now, you appear to stay in your lane, though, Shaun. I mean, you venture only into those spaces that contribute to your music career, even though I'm sure someone like yourself with the personality that you got and the grind that you got, there's other opportunities that can come and distract you. How do you stay in your lane without becoming distracted by other opportunities that come your way?
You just you gotta stay in your lane. You gotta know what's for you and what's not. For example, I wish I could be a fighter. I wish I could go step in a ring, box it out with somebody, get jabbed to the jaw a couple times and be all right the next day. That ain't happening. You know what I mean? I step into the ring, it's a done deal. I ain't no pussy, but I might get knocked out. I'm just saying. So I see that, and it looks enticing, and it looks great, it looks easy. But just because it looks easy don't mean that I can do it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I didn't do sports growing up. I mean, I went to a basketball camp a couple years, you know what I mean? But I didn't play sports because that's just not, I didn't have the passion for it.
Sure.
You can have like, oh, that looks like a good idea, but if you have the passion for something, it's gonna plan out a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, that passion, that drive, it makes you take those punches to the face and be like, I want more. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I don't have a passion for that. Don't hit me in my face. That's not cool.
No, nice. No, I totally get where you're coming from. Focus on your strengths, instead of your weaknesses. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that. Of course, we got to get a little perspective here on the fight game and music. Over here with what we're doing a lot of showing how the fight game and how music collide and how they relate a lot more than they do not relate. And so, in your perspective, give us a rundown. How do the two industries relate here between the fight game and the music realm?
Well, you get stepped on, you get knocked down, you get kicked. No, I don't know what kind of fighting y'all be doing. my example. No, yeah. I really don't know. I'm kind of vague when it comes to the boxing round. I like to watch it. I like to see it. I'm one of those dudes that be like, ooh, like holding on to the girl next to him. Ooh, did you see him get hit? Like, ooh, he's kind of a girl. I'm like, ooh, that hurt. It kind of hurt me to see him get hurt. You know what I mean? But, I don't know.
Hey, at least you're honest with it. That's okay. I mean, you kind of touched base on it before, I mean, a fighter's journey, that ain't easy, even though some people may think watching it from a TV set, it's easy. Likewise, watching somebody get on stage and murder a keyboard like you do, while making an audience, vibe to what you're putting out there. I mean, that's not an easy craft to take on either. So, being able to...
It's all in the preparation. What I do know about boxing is not just something... I mean, there's a couple guys that, they can probably come off the street, give you a quick little one-hitter finish. But for the most part, those guys that are in boxing, they train hard for that. They're working on their footwork. They're working on the way they jab. They're working on the way they move in throughout the ring. They're working on, their stamina. And so those are all things that are done before showtime, months and months, weeks and weeks of preparation, just to give that big bang, to give you your money's worth. Right. I think that's what we do as entertainers and musicians too. We grind hard to give you the best bang for your buck. If we don't, it shows, and then people are not going to be supporters. People are not going to be fans. If they see that, you got that AI mentality to where I don't need to practice or I don't need to work hard. I kind of got a gift. Just watch me flow. Like, it will start to show.
Mm-hmm. No, that's very insightful, very true, very good comparison there. This weekend we got a huge fight coming up. If you've been keeping tabs at all with Pacquiao Bradley too. First one that took place ended in a very controversial decision where Bradley walked away from a decision that a lot of people thought Manny Pacquiao was robbed of, created much upheaval in the industry and amongst spectators around the world. This is kind of another crossroads bout for both these guys, where they're on the warpath of seeking redemption. Coming back in your eyes here, if you've been keeping tabs on this at all, does Pacquiao still got it, or do you think that it's time for Bradley to close the curtain on this chapter? What would your perspective be?
Man, I think Pacquiao gonna get knocked out, and I know everybody loves Pacquiao, but he had his season, and I think it's someone else's season now. You know what I mean? I don't know. Usually, if I'm a boxer and I just won a gang of money and I'm the champ, I kind of want to stay the champ. I want to leave out as the champ. I don't really want to come back and let people see me get beat up for a couple rounds and be like, he used to be the champ. That always sucks when you talk about what you used to do. Right. You know what I mean? You got to kind of try to go out on the best note possible. When I left Boise, I tried to leave on the best note possible. Of course, personal issues, will kind of hinder you from leaving at your very best note. But as best possible, you just want to try to end well.
I hear you. Yeah, in the
I
sense.
think he should. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
Probably
no, that's
should be
good.
fighting.
He's he came back, did a pretty one-sided job over on Brandon Rios there in Macau, and now it seems like maybe he's trying to get one last hurrah in and leave on a good note. So we'll see what happens here. I'm kind of up in the air still myself, but if I'm going to edge one way or the other, I got to kind of side in that direction too, thinking Bradley's gonna take it to him. But we'll see. It's going to be a good card. Shaun, I want to say we thank you again for tuning in with us here. We appreciate, you taking the time out with us here. We know you're busy. Going to let you get back into practice and get to that grind again. You want to leave us with any final thoughts, any shout-outs, any plugs?
No, I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate the love for even considering me for your program. I'm blushing, really I am, through my black skin. Make sure you just go to www.ShaunBrazell.com, and new music is about to be released within the next couple weeks, and also some new videos. And I don't know, I'm trying to make y'all proud of me. So keep watching, and if you like it, push the like button, I guess.
Yeah, no, we're definitely been keeping tabs with you already, man. So much love for you. Keep on grinding out there. I mean, you set an example for the people to not just give up so easy either. So props to you for that.
Right.
So that's what's up.
Keep going. You got it.
That's what's up, brother. You have a good one, okay?
Yeah, man. I'll holler at y'all.
Laters.
Cheers.